So this is the weekly and daily cycle analysis for crude oil. If we shift over to the weekly chart, now there are really two things I want to highlight. One, we can see this very almost unreadable 2-week rally off of this key low that formed right there, and then a breakdown, which is why we've been looking at this as a left-hand translation. But now we have a morning star that's forming on the weekly, which indicates that that mid 70 area where this actually bounced off of is our real line in the sand on the downside, as there were clear buyers as crude got down to that area. It'll be very key to see a failure in these zones, which I'll show you on the daily, and then for this to roll over in order to keep this overall left-hand translation on this cycle intact. So very, very important to watch the price action here in the coming weeks. That next low on this big dominant cycle here in crude oil that I'm drawing here is due in the late January time period. If we shift over to the daily, we were looking for a bounce off of this mid-cycle low. We got it, but you can see this is a very sharp bounce off of that low, with that low forming at 76.25 or so, and we are now in the high 80s, so a very sharp bounce. Now this was looking like a left-hand translation. If this was really a very bearish left-hand translation, we would have failed in this area right here around that low 80s area and then turn down quickly. That has not happened, so it's very important to watch to see, can we fail in this zone from 86.70 to 92.70? If we can't, then there has likely been a shift here on this daily cycle that we'll have to add in. If it does and this turns down sharply and then gets a retest of that low at 76.25 into this overall timing, which is due around that 10-20 time period, that would keep this overall pattern on the daily intact. So very important to note, we do now have a neutral slim ribbon in a left-hand translation, very similar to what happened right here in this cycle. You can see we formed our high on the left side, had a bearish ribbon, and that did not change. So very important to watch to see if there is something changing here in crude oil.